Let's get real. For years I pictured this moment, standing in a sunlit office, my name on the door, the city skyline stretching out before me. I thought, this is it. I've made it. We all had that one job, the one you told your parents about, the one you thought would make it all worth it. I remember calling my mom, her voice cracking with pride, and my friends popping open cheap champagne in my tiny apartment. Years of grinding, unpaid internships, late-night study sessions, and a resume polished to perfection, all for this. According to a 2022 survey, over 70% of millennials spent more than 2 years in internships or side gigs before landing their real job. You get the offer. Your heart does a backflip. You celebrate. You post the big news. The likes and comments roll in. So proud. You deserve this. For a moment, you believe it too. This is it. You've made it. The finish line, or so you think. The promise wasn't just a paycheck, it was purpose. You're ready to give it your all. You wake up early, eager, your mind buzzing with ideas. The first months, pure hype. You're learning, hustling, soaking it all in. Every meeting feels like a masterclass, every project a chance to prove yourself. Every extra hour feels like an investment in your future. You tell yourself, this is what it takes. You wear your exhaustion like armor. The exhaustion is a badge of honor. But then, something shifts. The adrenaline fades, replaced by a quiet, creeping fatigue. The finish line, it's just another starting gun. Suddenly you realize you're not done. You're just getting started. The race you thought you won is just a qualifying heat for a tougher marathon. According to Gallup, 60% of young professionals feel burned out within their first year. The excitement fades, replaced by a low hum of pressure. The deadlines don't stop. The expectations only grow. Expectations mount, from your boss, from yourself. You start to question if you're keeping up, if you're enough. You realize landing the dream job wasn't the final boss, it was just the tutorial. The real challenges are only beginning to reveal themselves. The real game is harder than you imagined. The stakes feel higher, the rules less clear. The dream job, it's just the beginning of a new grind. The commute, the deadlines, the constant pressure to perform, it all starts to blur together. You start to wonder, was this really the finish line, or just the start of something else? The questions keep you up at night, and suddenly you're running a race you didn't know you signed up for. The dream job, it's just the first lap. The new job high wears off fast. One day you're bouncing into the office, eager to prove yourself. The next, you're staring at your screen, wondering how you got here. The quirks you found charming? Now, they're just annoying. Did she always chew that loudly, you think, as your coworker's lunch echoes across the open office? The inside jokes you once laughed at now feel like background noise. Monday mornings bring dread, not excitement. You hit snooze 3 times, then drag yourself through a crowded commute, silently rehearsing your "I'm fine, just tired" smile. You start to question, is this really the dream I worked so hard for? The work feels repetitive. The mission feels corporate. You catch yourself rereading the same email, wondering if you're making any real impact. You see the same polite exhaustion in your colleagues' eyes. In the break room, someone jokes, "Living the dream," and everyone laughs, but it's the tired kind of laugh. You feel guilty for even thinking this way. Shouldn't you be grateful? You remind yourself, people would kill for this job. But the guilt just makes it worse. So you push it down, order another overpriced coffee, and keep up the facade. Maybe I just need more caffeine, you joke. But you know it's not about the coffee. This is the messy middle. After the Instagram post, before you admit something's wrong, you scroll through your feed, seeing friends' highlight reels, and wonder if they feel the same. You're living the life you wanted, but it doesn't feel right. Is it just me? You ask yourself, staring at your framed offer letter. The fulfillment you were promised is always just out of reach. You try setting new goals, but the finish line keeps moving. We were told to follow our passion, hustle hard, and make our careers our centerpiece. Find what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life, they said. But what if you did, and it still feels like work? So when the dream cracks, it feels like a personal failure. Maybe I'm not cut out for this, you whisper to yourself, afraid to say it out loud. You keep smiling, keep saying you're crazy busy, but deep down, you wonder if you've been sold a lie. You rehearse your answers for family dinners. Work is great, super busy, but your reflection knows the truth. You're not alone in this. Sometimes, in a quiet moment, a coworker confides, "Honestly, I feel the same way." There's relief in the shared secret. Most people just don't talk about it. But maybe if we did, the messy middle wouldn't feel so lonely. Do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life. It sounds like wisdom, but it's really a slogan that's been weaponized by modern workplaces. This phrase didn't always dominate career advice. In the 1980s and 90s, work was about stability and climbing the ladder. But as the gig economy and startup culture exploded, do what you love became the rallying cry, especially for millennials entering a job market shaped by recession and uncertainty. It's a poetic lie, corporate gaslighting at its finest. Companies realized that if employees saw their jobs as a calling, they'd accept lower pay, longer hours, and fewer boundaries. Translation: if you love your job, you'll work for less, at all hours, and call it passion. Over time, that's just dedication. Weekend emails, that's commitment. I've seen friends in creative fields, writers, designers, nonprofit workers, burn out while being told they're lucky to do what they love. The mantra turns exploitation into a virtue and makes you feel guilty for wanting a life outside work. It's a subtle way of shifting responsibility for well-being from employer to employee. It's reserved for passion jobs, creative fields notorious for burnout. Think of the unpaid internships in media, or the expectation that teachers and social workers should sacrifice for the greater good. The promise is fulfillment, but the reality is, your well-being is the price. Millennials, in particular, have been sold this dream, only to find themselves overworked, underpaid, and disillusioned. I felt it too, the pressure to turn every interest into a hustle, to measure my worth by my productivity. But work is still work, even if you love it. You deserve respect for your time and your humanity. Real passion should be met with fair pay and healthy boundaries, not endless sacrifice. Let's retire the cliche, do what you're good at, get paid well, and go home on time. That's the real dream. Here's where it gets tricky. Your job becomes your identity. It's not just what you do from 9 to 5, it's who you are, how you introduce yourself, and sometimes how you measure your own worth. You're not just a designer, you're a senior creative at company. That title becomes a badge you wear everywhere, at work, at parties, even in your own mind. It's the first thing you say when someone asks, "So what do you do?" Your job title is your brand, your pride, your story at parties. It's the shorthand for your value in a world obsessed with achievement. The validation is addictive. Praise from your boss, likes on LinkedIn, respect from peers. Each notification, each compliment is a hit of dopamine. Quitting feels like erasing a piece of yourself. It's not just leaving a job, it's leaving behind an identity you've spent years building. When your self-worth is tied to your job, your mood rides the roller coaster of feedback and KPIs. A good review lifts you up, a bad one can ruin your week. You're not a person with a job, you're a job with a person attached. It's a subtle shift, but it changes everything. Company culture wants you to feel like family. so you'll put their needs above your own. It's a powerful way to keep you invested, sometimes at the cost of your own boundaries. Leaving feels like betrayal, not just of the company, but of the identity you've built. It's a grief that's hard to explain to anyone who hasn't felt it. You're trapped, not by the job, but by the story you tell yourself about who you are. It's a story reinforced by society, by friends, by family, and by your own ambitions. The golden handcuffs are real. Research shows that the more prestigious the title, the harder it is to walk away, even when you're unhappy. And the hardest part? They're made of your own ambition. We're taught to chase titles, to climb ladders, to never settle. But sometimes, the ladder is leaning against the wrong wall. It's a trap that's hard to see until you're already in it. Many millennials report feeling lost when their job changes or disappears because so much of their identity was wrapped up in that title. But you can break free. Your job is just one part of your story, not the whole book. Burnout doesn't arrive with a bang. It's more like a silent leak in your life's engine, draining you drop by drop while you keep driving, unaware. It begins with tiny, almost invisible trade-offs. Skipping lunch to answer just one more email, staying late to finish a project, checking notifications in bed when you should be sleeping. Each act seems harmless, even responsible, but together, they're like pebbles in your backpack. Eventually, the weight becomes unbearable. You start to notice the signs: constant fatigue, irritability, a shrinking world where all you do is work, sleep, repeat. Your hobbies gather dust, friends' texts go unanswered. You tell yourself, it's just a busy season, but the season never changes, the calendar fills up, the clock keeps ticking, and you keep pushing. The goalposts move further away, the treadmill speeds up, and you're running harder just to stay in place. You become a ghost in your own life, detached, cynical, just going through the motions. The spark that once drove you flickers. This is burnout, chronic exhaustion, emotional numbness, and a hollow ache where your passion used to be. It creeps in so quietly, you don't realize you're running on fumes until you're stranded on the side of the road. You think you're just stressed, but you're barreling toward a crash you can't see coming. All the warning lights are blinking: fatigue, anxiety, detachment, but you keep your foot on the gas, hoping things will get better on their own. Burnout isn't just tiredness, it's losing sight of who you are in the endless grind. It's forgetting what you loved about your work and about yourself, but you can choose to hit the brakes. You can reclaim your story before the crash. You're burned out, miserable, fantasizing about quitting. But you're not alone. According to a 2023 Gallup poll, over 60% of workers report feeling emotionally detached at work, and nearly 20% are actively disengaged. The exit sign is blinking, so why are you still here? For many, the answer is complicated. Fear. The unknown is terrifying. One friend told me, "I stayed because I couldn't imagine what came next. What if I left and failed? This job is familiar, if awful. It's the devil you know." Quitting means jumping into the void. A 2022 LinkedIn survey found that 49% of people fear regret after leaving a job, even a bad one. What if the next job is worse? Or what if you can't find one at all? There's pressure from yourself, from your family, from your friends. "My parents sacrificed so much for me to get here," one millennial confided. "How can I just walk away?" You don't want to be a quitter after all you've invested. The sunk cost fallacy is real. Psychologists say we're wired to stick with what we've started, even when it hurts. Leaving feels like failure, like wasting your potential. "I thought if I left, I'd be admitting I couldn't hack it," another friend shared. You tell yourself to tough it out, to handle it. Maybe things will get better, you think. Social pressure is real. How do you explain leaving the perfect job? The fear of judgment is paralyzing. There's a scarcity mindset. Dream jobs are rare, so you cling to yours, even as it drains you. I kept telling myself, jobs like this don't come around twice, someone admitted. You convince yourself this is as good as it gets. Settling becomes a habit, so you stay stuck, trapped by fear and obligation. The cycle repeats. You promise to look for something new, later, but later never comes. Weeks turn into months, then years. The golden handcuffs are locked tight and you're holding the key. Security can feel like a prison. The only way out is to use it. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk toward the unknown, one step at a time. Let's land this plane. But before we do, let's remember, your story isn't just about work. Your well-being matters more than your job title. Think of Maya, who left her high-stress job to start a community garden. Now she finds joy in every seed she plants. Suffering isn't a badge of honor. You don't have to burn out to prove your worth. Maybe the real dream isn't a perfect job. It's a balanced, healthy life. Like Alex, who swapped overtime for evening walks and found his creativity again. It's okay for your dreams to change as you do. Explore new hobbies, rediscover old passions, let yourself evolve. Walking away from a job that no longer serves you isn't failure. It's growth. Every step away is a step towards something better. True success is a life you don't need to escape from. Build memories, not just resumes. Your job should fund your life, not consume it. Use your paycheck to invest in experiences, not just expenses. You're more than your profession. Connect with your community. Try something new. Give back. Start small. Take your lunch break. Savor your meals. Call a friend. Don't check email after hours. Use your vacation days. And protect your downtime fiercely. Build boundaries. Reconnect with neglected parts of your life. Say yes to yourself. If the job is the problem, it's okay to look for the exit. Redefine your dream. There are more paths than you think. The ultimate dream isn't a job, it's a life. You only get one. Make it count. Don't waste it being miserable for a paycheck. You deserve more. You're worth more than that. So take the first step, big or small, toward a life that fulfills you. Your future self will thank you.